Hi there. Welcome to TLS. Tonight, my goal is just to show you some tilling and how I created this material from scratch. Well, not really from scratch because I bought a Megascan asset and then I had to manipulate it and change it to make it look good. Now, so I started with this material color. It's just a color I made. You can notice that it's still on the inside because I've got two elements over here that make up this tower. I built this tower in Blender, still learning that, still learning how to use Unreal. I'm new to it. I've been playing around for a long time. And if you like this video, cool. If you think it's useless, thanks for watching. Maybe I'll get good enough that you actually come back. So, how did I go from this material to the other material? Well, the first thing I did, I bought some stuff from Megascans. So let me pull up a couple of things that I bought. Let's show you the marble first. Okay, so this was the first material that I bought. I thought it would look really cool on the tower. So I did this. That actually doesn't look bad. It's cool. But if you look at the scale of the tower, you can tell that's fake. That's a normal size person right there. That's a halfling elf. She's got long ears. Ooh, long ears. He's a half elf too. In my world, half elves don't have pointy ears. They do have long ears, but they're not pointy. So I ended up with this material, and it looks good, but there's a few things wrong with it. One, it's super shiny. Two, it's a huge material, and when you get close, it's still you can see it starts looking a bit grainy, and it's not so good. So I needed to figure out a process, and I learned through some trial and error, some searching through Unreal documentation, that it's called tilling is the first thing that I needed to do. So I'm going to show you how I did that fairly quickly. I started with this specific material, and I first needed to find its parent material. So all I did there was I double clicked the black and gold marble. That brought up the material instance. And then to find the master material here, just click that little spyglass and it brings you to the master. Now, this is a master that is built from Megascans. I don't want to change that. If I change that, it could screw up a lot of other materials that I have purchased and downloaded and then altered. So the first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this. I could have used Control D, but I did that instead. And we're going to call this, it's not a Megascan. So M is for material, MS I believe is for Megascan, and then the SRF is for surface. So I'm going to call this material. My game is going to be called the Three-Legged Stag, so TLS, and we're going to call this surface test material. Just leave it as that. Boom. Now we have a new material. So we're going to click into that, and this is where we are going to make our changes. I'm going to pull that over. All right. So this is the material graph. You can notice a few different things here. First, you have the OCS kind of section is over here, but ORM rather, not ORS. So each one of these goes into one of these. AO, this is how that's created. Roughness, this is how the roughness is created. You've got metallic, that's how the metallic is created. And what there isn't, there is stuff going into base color, and that is important. But what there isn't is a world aligned texture. That's what we need to use in order to start getting the tilling process going. So we're going to right click, world align texture. There you are. All right. So we have the world align texture. We're going to break this chord. I don't think I do that right. I use control and click on it. Now, we're going to move that over here for right now. This is coming from the base color up here. Okay. Now, what I learned last night is it doesn't go into the 2D texture object. Took me a little while to figure that out. It does will be accepted into the world space normal and into the projection transition can contrast. But that's not what we're looking to do. But we're going to leave that alone for a little while. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect the XYZ texture to base color, right? We have an error because we don't have any inputs going in. Let's go ahead and attach this to one of the ones. Oh, it can go into world position as well. Still have an error. That's not going to work. Let's break that. Try that. Still in error. Not going to work. So I had to dig into the Unreal documentation to try to figure out what's going on. And what I found out is two things. One, we can just delete this. Okay. We're not going to need it. What we are going to need is a base color texture. Where are you, base color? Let's finish. Oh, I'm just going to copy it because I do have it on another section. So, base color texture. All right. Oh, this is a parameter. I'm sorry. I should have been looking on parameter text object, and then I renamed it to base color texture. Now, this is a 2D object, so it does fit in there. And look at that. Now I've got a super shiny material. Uh, it's not a material instance, so we're not going to be able to put this into the actual world. But one of the things that we are going to need to do is create a new material instance for this. So let's go back here. This is that new test. Okay, let's hit save. And we're going to create a material instance. Okay. So we're going to rename this MI, TLS, surface test, uh, granite, right? Because we're going to turn that from the marble into the granite. All right. So this is that. But first, we're going to go back here. Now, one of the reasons that it's not doing anything is because we don't have any vectors, right? It's not looking for anything in texture size. So let's go here. We are going to look for a constant and 3 vector. All right. Now we've got a 3 vector constant. We're going to stick that into the V3. Now that gives us an even shinier ball. Awesome. Okay, we're going to apply. All right, so that apply and save. And then we're going to go back to the world. Oh, look, our material test just updated because we put the vectors in. And now we have the test granite. So let me take the marble off. Now, what we did, tilling is essentially increasing the amount of projections of that material onto the new surface. That's what tilling is my understanding. It's probably wrong. If you do view this on YouTube, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. Point me. There are so many excellent YouTubers out there, people that are putting out really good material. I'm new at this. I'm building this game and I want to share some of the things that I'm learning. So we're going to take that new material test instance, that granite. We're going to move that over to the outside. And wow, okay, it's definitely a color. It's not the color we want. And there's two additional things that are kind of wrong with this. One, super shiny. And two, it's super smooth. All right, so we're going to work on those after we get the tilling right. So let's go back over here. to change the tilling, let's make sure that I have the right object. Okay. So what I did there, we can close this. All right. So the base color texture, which we created a little while ago, I copy and pasted that. That is actually a parameter text object. Parameter. It's a parameter object. Text sample parameter UV. Nope, that's not it. Well, we can find that later. This is my first time doing this and nobody's following me, so it's okay. I can always re-record it and make it again. I'm not going to do that though. All right, so we have this object, and right now we have this as the base color texture, right? So let's go to it. That is from my Black's Galaxy Gannett that I downloaded from Megascans, right? We brought that down. So go into textures, and that is the B, right? There's N and RM, but we're just starting with the B to get it in. So let's go back to the test material, not the material instance. Okay. Now, what I've learned is that you need to change these numbers for the texture size. That's what's going to multiply the actual material onto the object. So let's start really small, right? That doesn't look like it did very much. You can see a few more striations. Let's hit save. Head over. Nothing noticeable. All right. So I already know the numbers that I like, but we're going to try a few others just so you can see what actually happens. So let's move it up to 200, 200, 200. Oh, look, the granite's back. Like it actually kind of looks like granite again. All right, cool. Let's check it out. Let's hit save. And then we'll go back to the world. Oh, look. Now you can see it is a repeated instance over the entire structure. Okay. So you can see it's definitely repeating. Nothing cool there. It does look a lot better. It still does have a good granite kind of structure to it, but you can see it's repeated. And that is not the look I'm going for. So let's increase the size of those projections by increasing this even more. Let's go to 1500, 1500, 1500. Now you'll notice on the granite over here that it looks like it's bigger. The little modules inside the granite aren't nearly as small. So let's save it again. And oh, look, this is starting to look kind of unique. It's also got, yes, you can still see where it's repeated, but it's at a much larger scale. Let's zoom in a little bit. The modules seem to be getting a little bit bigger, but overall they're holding fairly nice. So we're gonna play with these numbers a little bit more. Let's try 32, 32, 32. Now, take a look. You'll see that the modules inside the granite are getting even bigger, right? Let's hit save. Let's go check it out. Oh, look. Now, this is important for me anyway, right? You can't see where it's repeating from a single view. So let's take a look for this spot down here, right? Oh, right there, right there. I don't like that. I don't want to be able to tell it's repeating. So let's try a few more things. Instead of going with the same numbers, let's try 2500 and let's try 3800. Not sure exactly what that's going to do. Let's try it. All right. So let's check out the world. I say, oh, look at that. All right. Okay. We got a repeat right there. Repeat right there. Okay. So it's still repeating, but we have a very large till. I believe it's called a till. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's try 5,000. 4,500 and 6,000. Why not? All right. Wow. Look at how large the nodules are over here. They've definitely gotten kind of large. So let's save it and let's take a look. That, I think, looks fantastic. Yes. Now, if you get close, you can see it's a bit pixelated, but this is looking really good. You know, let's see. I got a darker grayer spot here. Let's find the next one. Oh, all the way on the other side. Let's see if I can see them both at the same time. Just barely. Just barely. So this is looking pretty good. I think this is looking great. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's two other major issues. One, right now, it looks like a granite countertop. That is not what I'm looking for. This is supposed to be an ancient dwarf tower. It was built specifically to defend. It shouldn't be super smooth. Now, there's two places that we can change the smoothness. The first is over here, right? I can change the minimum and the maximum roughness from this material, but I don't want to do that. I want to save this material as is because the second place that you can adjust that is back in the world. We'll go here, get us back to this exact material, and then we'll click on that, right? Oh, I have it up right over here. Okay, so this is the material instance screen. This is the actual instance for this material. And you'll notice over here that we have other things that we can change. And what we want to change is the minimum and the maximum roughness that are available to this material instance. This is only going to change this material instance unless we duplicate it, but we can go back and change that. So I want to make it more rough. That was the first thing that we want, or not more rough. This is going to make it more dull. In my mind, roughness is a texture that we're going to work on a little bit differently. And we might not work on that tonight because I haven't done it fully yet. But to get it to be a little bit more dull, let's play around with a couple of these numbers. So that right there changed it a lot, right? All right, let's go back down to 20. See, like it's much more shiny. So let's start by saving that. Okay, and then we're going to go into the world. That already is noticeably less shiny. So we're going to change the max roughness. We're going to drop that down a little bit just so we don't get too carried away with how rough it can get. And then let's take a look at 35 again, 0.35. Right, let's save this and we're going to go back into the world. Doesn't seem, it's not a mirror finish anymore. And it does seem a little bit more dull. Let's increase that a lot just to see what happens. Let's go all the way up to 0.65. Ooh, look at that. That changed. That changed a lot. Oh, there we go. Now this is kind of looking more like, to me, it kind of looks a little bit more like cement, which isn't quite what I'm looking for. So if I don't want it to look like cement, let's go back in, and I was at 30 and 65. So let's try 50. It's got a little shine to it. I like that. Okay, there we go. Now the sun, you can see the sun just a little bit right here. It is not glaring off of it. We don't have reflections off of these beams. And yes, I got to fix these beams. The mesh, the color coding is on the wrong axis. So you'll notice on these guys, they actually kind of look like wooden boards, except for on this axis. But I can fix that. And then over here, if you look at the end, actually, I can probably fix that on both sides. because this side, when you shrink those boards, is actually the board ends if you stacked a bunch of boards on top. So I can fix all of those boards, and I will, especially when it gets much closer to the end of the build process. I am still way early in the build process. You'll notice over here, I only have 3 people, and this is a fix of this character. So this weekend, I'm planning on making the full cast for the prelude or prologue, whatever you want to call it. I think it's more of a prelude to Act One of the TLS main story. Now, let's just for fun, let's take a look at a couple of things. So I'm going to go back into the test material, and instead of using the granite, which I discovered I liked last night, let's change this. We're going to change that to, I know where these are because I downloaded them. If you don't know where something is, you can always go to content. I know what the main name is. Marble. Okay. Now we're looking at textures. So this is the texture that I wanted to test on that. And it's got a strange name because I downloaded it, but that's the one that we're gonna put in. So I'm gonna go back here. We are going to oh, we're gonna go here. Oh, I should have copied that name. I know there's a quick way to do that, but I don't know that yet. Let's take a look and see if I can find it real quick. Oh, copy reference. That's perfect. Boom. Okay. Reference copied. What was the short key on that? Oh, nope. Don't do that. Is there a short key for copy reference? Control. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Copies object path. I think that's the one that we actually want, but I'm going to do this differently. I'm just going to go to rename. We're going to control C the name because that's the easy way. Then we're going to go here, control V, boom. That's the marble. That's the marble with very high tilling. So I just want to see what this is going to look like. So we're going to save that and we're going to go back to the world. That's kind of cool too. Now, I don't think in the real world marble looks like that. Maybe it does. I don't think I've ever been into a marble quarry that had marble that looked anything like this. But it does look pretty cool. And yeah, the repeating rate. Let's see. We got 2 circles right here. Oh, there are those 2 circles? No. All right, so let's keep on going. Huh, that worked. Okay. Now, again, for a giant dwarf tower, I think this material looks really cool, but it's not what a dwarf military in my mind would use. So we're going to switch that material back. We're just going to go there. We're going to hit the restore property buttons. Now that brought us all the way back to the default properties. So let's go over here. Now, I know that we're going to be looking for a granite texture. All right. So this is the one that we were using. So that's the one I want. We're going to rename, copy, paste. Boom. All right. Save. Take another look at the world. All right. So far we've changed the roughness, so it's not a shiny countertop tower any longer. It doesn't reflect as much as it did. Definitely still needs some work. I'm not saying it doesn't, and I definitely want to add some more characteristics. some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, it's going to be grading the color of this from the bottom up, and I do want to give it some texture. Those are all things that I'm still learning how to do, and I just wanted to go live a little bit and give you guys a very basic demonstration of tilling. That being said, there are much better people than me to learn how to use Unreal Engine from. Much better. First, the Unreal documentation, the guys that are working with Unreal and have their YouTube channels linked to the samples. And those guys know what they're doing. They've been doing this for a long time, they've studied it. Follow them, definitely follow them. I will definitely add some of them to my pages so that you can reference them. I'm just having fun and trying to create a game and a story. I've got the prologue, prelude sketched out. I've got Act One sketched out, and I've got a mental map, and it's written down too for Act Two and Act Three. The prologue is going to be kind of short, only probably 20 minutes to 45 minutes of gameplay. It's not going to be designed to be, yeah, you can play it over and over again, but it's really going to be a proof of concept, and it's going to be something cool, something that you can check out. Last night, one of the cool things I did was I finished my stables. Well, at least the rough sketch of my stables. I got these boards right. I haven't decided if I want to get a thin board right here. I might, but take a look at it. It's kind of cool, right? It's for horses. So horses generally are taller than people. So why do I need to make windows for people? I don't. So I made some kind of viewports for the horses so that air can flow in and out. This area is going to be for the I know what they're called. Fuller, something like that. The people that take care of the horses, reshoe them. Yeah, I think they're a fuller. I think. I was going to put a blacksmith over here, but historically, putting a blacksmith right next to a stable doesn't make sense. It's just going to upset the animals. So I detached it to remind myself of that, and we'll work on that later. Figure out where it's going to go in the layout. This is a dwarf tower. It might have some cool spots in it later on, but for right now, we need a basic blacksmith just to be able to fix your weapons when we finally get there, and your tools. So that's kind of where TLS is at the moment. And this weekend, my goal is to get some actual texture onto the dwarf tower and maybe do some gradient coloring so it doesn't have the same color all the way through. I want to start with some blue down here and then go up to the gray, make it kind of look weathered in a really cool way. Maybe some water erosion lines. This dwarf tower is the most ancient part of the whole complex in the story. That's a little little bit of a teaser there. And yeah, so I've done some streaming and recording of a demonstration. I'm gonna stick that up on YouTube and a few other places. And go ahead and comment if you like what I did, if it found it useful, if it gave you a laugh because I'm new at this and a little bit of an idiot. Go ahead and subscribe. You'll get some more laughs out of it, or you'll get some useful stuff. And hopefully, we'll have a game soon. Well, it's going to take a little while, so not soon. All right. Have a great night.